Welcome back to Midwest eSports Formula 1 Division 1. Tonight is week 2 and we are in Hungary for some more racing action.
Yeah, it is going to be a wild night here. Like Mitch said, season 12 and race number 2. But race number 1 had plenty of fireworks to start the season out. We all remember the incident towards the end of the race. I mean, there were safety cars all over the race, as is tradition in Jeddah. But we did see some pretty catastrophic yard sale, just complete, rapid disassembly of vehicles on track towards the end of the race. So tensions have already kind of been raised as we head into just the second race of the season. But Hungaroring, another very tight, very technical track. Not a lot of space to just open up for a beefy DRS overtake. So it is going to be another chippy night. I'm kind of reading the tea leaves, and I'm thinking it's going to be just another bloodbath until the very end.
Now, this is a interesting track because you can go full speed for quite a while. Sector 2, if you have the car set up right, you can go almost flat out. You have to hit those corners perfectly. And then, of course, once you leave the finish line straight, you have 2 DRS zones that share a detection spot. So, I believe, yes.
Yeah, I didn't look at the map before we started talking.
No.
So yeah, now I have it up.
I'm reading that map wrong now. Never mind. It is a weird DRS zone, though.
Yes, yeah, that we only have 1 DRS, correct?
2 DRS.
We have 2 DRS. Where's the second one? Oh, this is an outdated map. Oh, there we go. I see. Okay.
Yes, so you have the detection just before you head down to the final straight, and then that DRS, and then a second one.
Turn 1.
I don't think that is a second detection zone. That's the speed trap. The yellow marker that Robert Yates just crossed over.
Was this one of those tracks where if you have DRS in the first section, you're going to retain it in the second?
Yes.
Yeah, you could potentially. Oh, okay. So
that's
it's a
where I was
double
getting
DRS
mixed up.
zone.
That green marker is a detection zone. The yellow one's speed trap, which is just the fastest spot on the track. So where you try and set the fastest top speed, which isn't always another detection zone. And this one isn't. So if you get the pass complete, you can still take off afterwards.
Hi everyone, how you doing? We're here. We're back. We got this ship back on course. We're not even 3 minutes into the stream. We kind of veered off, but we're back. What's up, Peter? Nice to see everyone in chat. Thank you to all of our viewers logging in right at the start of Q1 and only. 15 minutes on the clock right now. We are on board with Bobbert Yates. We only had 1 driver substitution for the second race of the season, and that I have the wrong. I threw to myself and I didn't even have it pulled up. Mitch Burns is out tonight for AlphaTauri in returning to his D1 seat is going to be none other than WS Scavney. So wonderful to have Scavney back for a little jaunt around Hungary tonight. We'll see what he can do in the AlphaTauri. Again, we are still rocking F1 23 here as the platform, so we do not have the updated team names for the 24 season, and we will not have them for the entirety of season 12. We now see GSR Caesar, who crashed out pretty early last week in the season opener, up in 5th right now as it stands before he set a lap. We'll see where he places here during the end of qualifying. Scavney there in the AlphaTauri taking 5th place with his first lap. I mean, these are all first laps, so they're just establishing their times. But yeah, sorry, I did not look at the map before I said anything. This one is very twisty turny, but there is that real big. There are a couple decent straights here, so whoever can get their car dialed in properly. See T-Nell going really high up on that curb there. Wonder if that's just getting warmed up, or maybe the McLaren isn't exactly where he needs it to be for today's race just yet. But he has 13 minutes to figure that one out.
And looking back in the stat vault too, the fastest qualifying lap for Midwest in Hungary at the Hungaroring is Matt Rosie, who set a 1:13.324 in qualifying. Now,
You said a 113.
yes,
Phew.
big difference there too. Sometimes these tracks have changes season to season. Like you said,
Yeah.
sometimes they add or drop DRS zones. The game physics get a little different as well sometimes. So could have
Yeah.
been in a slightly different era of the Hungaroring.
That's very true. Yeah, I remember when you and I picked up racing probably a year and a half ago. We were starting on F121 because that was the free game on the EA Play, the subscription platform. And then switching from 21 to 23 was pretty drastic. I kind of had to relearn how to drive a Formula car. It was that much of an adjustment just between 2 years of the game. So yeah, I bet you I could have said a 115.040. Just like, is that Nikki? No. Who is that?
That is the Williams
Fireballer.
driver, which
It's Fireballer.
no, it's
No?
Mackie.
It's Mackie. Whoever it is, throat punch.
That's Mackie.
Flick your Adam's apple.
These name changes are going to absolutely mess with me between
Really?
the ones listed on the Drivers' Championship, the ones that we put on our scorecards. Last week, it was Mackie Marquis racing for
That's right.
Williams on the Drivers' Championship. He's officially listed as Mackie, so that's what I'm going with on our charts from here on out. I'll be going off of whatever they use in the Drivers' Championship channel. So if you don't like your name, get it changed there, because I don't need to deal with names changing in the game and everywhere else every other week.
I love we log on probably 15 minutes before we go live. 15, 20 minutes before we go live. We catch up, we enjoy our sip of coffee, and then we load into the game. And that's the last thing that we do before we go live. And today it was 2 seconds before Mitch took us live. He saw the name change and was like, I will burn them with fire. Who is Screen Freeze Merchant? Just clicked. Hi, welcome to the stream. Yeah, it's spicy behind the scenes here with all these name changes, but we'll figure it out. I'm sure we'll mess it up 3 or 4 more times through the race.
Don't worry, there'll be something that goes catastrophically wrong tonight. Probably one of the graphics.
Oh yeah.
If not something else, we'll see.
We do have some new graphics to show you here tonight, and that's a wonderful time to put a little plug out there if you want to help us with all of our graphics and all of our elements that make this stream as nice and clean and enjoyable as it is. You can consider clicking join down below to become one of our YouTube members. Tiny little monthly fee goes a very, very long way for this little channel. So thank you for considering that. You can also just hit subscribe down below and interrupt our stream with the little F1 blip blip. And we'll obviously give you a nice shout out there. So
I think our race engineer does it for memberships too, or tips, I believe.
Nick and Mitch are become a member. This is a test.
He struggles a little bit pronouncing member. It's like member, but I think it's the French accent that I picked for the readout.
We appreciate his effort.
I was going for like an Alpine engineer.
Yeah, right. Seeing a lot of caution flags, but that is normal for a qualifying session as drivers yield to one another. It's something that we just kind of have to ignore because the drivers are kind of superseding what the game wants them to do. On board now with race day, one of the contenders this year for the Drivers' Championship. He finished last year in second and did take home the Constructors in the Ferrari with his teammate Kelly Robb. Thank you. Took second, but he was involved in an incident last week, I believe, and had a lackluster finish. Did I just put my foot in my mouth?
I can't remember if it was an incident or if he had I don't want to say a pit stop error, but because there were so many safety cars, I think the pit stop strategies were a little messy for some teams. He did finish fifth in the race. And McLaren is second in the Constructors' Championship. We'll get into that a little bit later because he did have a substitute last week. His teammate tonight is Tino, which is the official D1 partner of race day. But I believe Lancey was racing in McLaren last week and also put up points.
Yeah, so
he finished 8th.
Put my foot in my mouth. There we go. So, yeah, I mean, he started second, he ended 5th. So it was a little bit of an error, but with that many pit stops, it's difficult to time all of that along with your strategies. So it is fine, but he will definitely be a name to watch. He's not going anywhere anytime soon, even though he is still down in 20th in the pits without a time on the board. He'll definitely get out there shortly. We'll keep an eye out for him. But speaking of race day, he was the one and only report for the Stewarts last week. There was a report submitted. It was against Race Day versus Visa Cash App VTech 81 PR1. And there was that massive collision. They were trying to figure out who had caused it. But there was not conclusive or reasonable evidence to the Stewarts that one or another was at fault. That being said, the Stewarts ruled in favor of no further action. So there was no Stewart findings from Division 1 last week, meaning the standings that we saw at the end of the race were the standings that were written in the books. That was, again, a Scarenzi, the Plums, and Mack top 3. Aston, Ferrari, and Haas on the podium, followed by Alpine and McLaren to round out the top 5. And it is Mackey still holding his first and fastest lap at a 1:15.040 as provisional pole with just under 6 minutes to go. Setting a faster one there, 1:14.8. Getting closer, but not quite to the record of a 1:13 and change here in Hungary. That is a respectable time, the only 1:14 on the board right now, and he may be the only 1:14 we see all session.
That one's crazy. Now, Got Palmer's getting close. Race day is always up to put in a competitive time. Mackey did. He either had the fastest lap or I think he did qualify pole last week.
Yes.
'Cause he got 1 point in the Drivers' Championship. It looks pretty funny with 13th place, Cynical, 30 points. 14th, Mackey, 1 point. And then a lot of drivers with 0 points from the DNS. So Mackey was able to get that single point and then did not finish the race.
Yeah, the Williams was on top of the grid last week. And I believe he also set the fastest lap. He was pole and he set the fastest lap of the race with a 1:28.658.
Could have been it. I think
that might have been the point.
Yeah, I think
I'm getting my Formula One
fantasy. You have to finish 90% of the race to take home race points. And so I don't know if he ends up getting the fastest lap point because he didn't finish the race, but he's got the pole position point.
Got you. Okay.
Or he didn't have the fastest lap or like got one or the other. I'm not sure.
We were discussing setting up an AI third commentator to keep track of all of the rules and all of the statistics for us so that we could just ask like Bob in the middle of the stream whether or not that was, how the points shook out. So we're working on Bob, but definitely, becoming a YouTube member would help us pay for our AI subscription to get our third commentator in the booth.
Robert Yates in the paddock chat is blown away that someone's setting a 1:14. He was shocked that someone got close to a 1:15. Robert Yates currently at a 1:16.5 in the Haas. Some people are just playing a different game, it feels like.
Honestly. Yeah, it's and sometimes it's not even evident of like the entire season. Sometimes you're just having a great night. Sometimes it's your track. Sometimes it's your car setup. Sometimes you just have it. But for 2 weeks in a row for Mackey to be sat atop, at least for a provisional pole right now. Thank you, Doc Worthy, for the little first super on the live stream. Thank you very much there.
Thank you.
What's up, Gunny Guns? But for Mackie to set a provisional pole for the second time out of 2 races this season, it does make a fellow wonder what they're doing with that Williams right now. It's working for him.
It's going to be interesting to see how the rest of the season shakes out. The points are very close. Of course, have Aston Martin with Scarenzi, McLaren with Race Day. But 1, 2, 3, 4 teams separated by 10 points for the top. Now, it was just one race.
Right. But still.
Yeah, it's pretty open, and we had several drivers not make it. Oh, they were popped up on the chat.
Hey!
That goes towards our AI bot. He'll get paid more than we do. Race day.
It hurts that that's true.
Only getting a 123. I didn't see if he just dropped on that lap. If he's going to pick it up on this one, maybe. It's getting crowded out on the track, though, so he's only got this lap and one other where he could set a time.
Yeah, I wonder if Race Day was caught up doing something else, or the strategy just didn't play out there. But it is going to be tough to dig out of that position. But if anyone could cruise through the pack and still somehow end up in the top 10, maybe dare I say the top 5, I would put my money on Race Day. We've seen him climb back before. Would not be shocking.
He's making this look like a WEC race right now, where he's in the hypercar and the rest of them are in their GR3 cars and all having to pull over as he comes through on the lap. Everyone else on their out lap to get their final qualifying lap in. Race Day trying to get his first in. He was 6 seconds quicker after sector 2, and he's going to be pretty close. And by pretty close, he goes a tenth of a second faster than Mackie.
That is a 1:14.747 for the McLaren of Race Day. Absolutely shot out of a cannon through traffic to boot. Yeah, don't count that guy out.
No, he had a lot of cars to go through on that and managed to make it work. And now Mackie is going to try and respond to that. Goes a tenth faster, but still 5/100 slower than Race Day. And that will be his final lap.
These two are racing in a completely different league than the others, at least today. That is not to say that this will translate, clearly over into the race. Anything can happen here as we proceed to the grid, but just look at those times. I mean, commanding is the only word that is coming to mind right now. Definitely some commanding drives from those two. This is going to be fun off the line.
Scarenzi goes up into 5th on his final quali lap. Before these races, I like to watch some of the race intros from previous years in Real F1, so I was watching the Hungary intros. And Will Buxton reminded me of the 2021 race, I believe, where Bottas and several others going into turn 1 at the start of the race. I want to say like 8 drivers went off track, and he eloquently described it as looking like someone opened a bag of marbles and you just see all these cars rolling off the edge of the track.
I love that.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened.
Yeah, this one, just like Jeddah, just like Bahrain, has that straight sprint down into a sharp right for turn 1. It really, it could really set the tone for the entire day. Whether or not folks are going to be a little cheeky and try and push their luck on that turn, or if they're just going to try and survive through there to resume, their chance of crossing the line. Well, the results are in. We should be getting our final times up on the board here momentarily. Q1 and only has come to a close here for Season 12, Race 2, MidWest eSports Formula 1 Division 1 on Nick and Mitch. We do have some new AI-generated ad reads coming up for you in the race. Those are going to be a ton of fun, as always, and hopefully less safety cars than week one. But there it is, race day coming out of absolutely nowhere with just a handful of laps to set the fastest and sit himself atop this grid for race number 2 with a 1:14.747, followed by the ever-dominant Mackie Marquis and Gott Palmer. GSR Edwin rounds out the first 2 lines of the grid, and that is going to send us to the formation lap. So hold on tight. Race number 2 of Season 12 is up next. After an animated season opener, we welcome you back to Budapest for the Hungarian Grand Prix. The dramatic season opener in Jeddah gave Scarenzi another win, setting him atop the points right out the gate. But as we head into St. Patty's weekend, you can keep your 4-leaf clovers and pots of gold. It's Mackie and it's race day that are on a mission. Well, luck or not, the Hungaroring is definitely going to make the champ and the others work hard for a win. Limited overtaking opportunities will put a premium on precision and strategy here tonight. One wrong move and your race can be toasted faster than a paprika-dusted langos. And finally, we have some points on the board in week 2, so I can throw it over once again to the brains of the broadcast. Broadcasting from a mere 250 miles to my northwest, it's my buddy, Mitch Bell.
And we can take a look at the team lineup for tonight. Most of the drivers stay the same, but we do have a substitution in for AlphaTauri. We have Scavney Racing in place of Mitch Burns. Now, last week in Saudi Arabia, Scarenzi defied the odds to take the checkered flag, followed by the Plums in the mighty Ferrari and Gott Palmer in the Alpine. We can't forget Mackie, who was on course for a win before a heart-stopping incident, and there were a high number of DNFs. Those unforgiving streets of Jeddah truly tested the field. Over on the constructors' side, things are even closer. Aston Martin currently holds the top spot with 94 points, but McLaren, led by Race Day, is just 4 points behind. And a strong showing from Alfa Romeo last week, double point finishes, pushes them into a tie for second place. Alpine is hot on their tails, while Ferrari and Haas are locked in a midfield battle. We then have AlphaTauri, Williams, and Red Bull fighting to climb the ladder around the 30-point range, and Mercedes was the only team to score nothing last week.
Absolute prime graphic. I can't wait to see that thing start to bounce around as the season progresses. But Season 12 will do just that. It will progress. It marches on here tonight. Welcome to week 2 from Hungary. This is Midwest eSports Formula 1 Division 1 on Nick and Mitch. We join our drivers here in Hungary in the formation lap, led by Race Day's McLaren and Mackie's Williams. Mackie setting pole last week in Saudi Arabia and had it until the final laps of qualifying, where Race Day came out of the pits and just, took a yawn, had a little stretch, and went out there and just blew his time to smithereens. So it will be these two racing out the gate. It is going to be very interesting to see what happens here in turn 1, in lap 1 in Hungary, as I predict it's going to be pretty fierce, at least from these top 2.
I think so. We do have Scarenzi down in 5th too. A low start for him. Never out of the race, however. Expect him to climb up fairly rapidly. We can take a look at the tires they're all starting on. Edwin opting for the mediums at the top of the leaderboard, and T-Nell in the McLaren going on hard. So a completely different strategy from his teammate. Very interesting mix, though. We've got quite the even spread.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's not forget Scarenzi last week started 9th in the Aston and ended up winning later in the race. Now, that was due in part to some safety car paloozas that we had there in Jeddah, but we will see what happens in Hungary. Lights are on, racers are on the grid, cars are ready. And we are racing the Hungarian Grand Prix Season 12 of Midwest eSports. Formula One Division 1 is underway. We have movement, and Mackie already getting a jump on race day, taking the lead before turn 1. Heads into the inside corner, is able to keep race day at bay, trying to get a little bit of space between him as Scott Palmer and Scarenzi fight back and forth. Scarenzi started 5th, now up into 3rd. It's Scott Palmer and Scarenzi who are duking it out in the end here of Sector 1. Seems the rest of the pack has pretty much ironed it out. The Plums and Bobbert Yates still fighting for position in the back of the pack, but we will have to wait and see what happens as things get a little dicey. Sector 2 is going to be pretty quick, but then Sector 3 we do get some more high-intensity hairpin braking, so we might see some more overtakes here before we cross the finish line. Houdini and Gunner now going after it for the fight in 16th through those back and forth chicane sections in Sector 2. And it looked like Gunner there went just a little bit wide. Not sure if he was avoiding an incident or just missed his line, but he was able to correct and rejoin without too much of a loss. He drops down into 19th from that. And Mackie, no surprise there, sets a fastest lap. It's a 1:22.8, nowhere near the 1:14 he set in qualifying, but with an open field in front of him, we'll see what he can do on this second lap with those brand new soft tires as he put a healthy gap between him and race day. I predict he will be able to get that gap above 1 second to avoid a DRS attack from race day, at least in the first stint of DRS here. We see the AWS tire strategy down there, looking like a 1 or 2 stopper, as is tradition here. But pretty solid first lap. A little bit of excitement there before turn 1, but other than that, everything seemed to iron out. So now we're in it for the long haul as drivers start to get a little bit of a gap between one another.
We saw a bit of a slip on the tires for Sui, and there was one other that you mentioned. I think Bobbert Yates or
Gunner.
Gunner, yes. Just losing a bit of grip in those battles. This feels like a narrower track to me, not in terms of barriers, but at least the actual tarmac in certain sections. For how open the rest of it is, there was a lot of natural grass on the edge of this course.
Yeah, definitely. You know, they are slick tires. And they hate grass. So it really is a death sentence once you get past that white track barrier there and touch these things onto grass. God forbid you have any kind of angle on your car, any movement on that steering wheel. You can pretty much kiss your race goodbye as you Lance Stroll pirouette into one of the walls. It is still got Palmer ahead of Scarenzi. Scarenzi in much better position than he was to start the season in Saudi last week. In 4th place, he is definitely still in a prime attacking zone, especially since DRS has yet to be activated. Or was it just?
It should be on this lap, so crossing the finish line, there should be DRS, and then that will continue after turn 1. There'll be a second, smaller DRS zone. I believe you get to carry that momentum too, so plenty of opportunity to pass with DRS on this track. Looks like race day will be out of detection, but Palmer will be in, so he can make a jump up, and Scarenzi as well. He'll be hot on his tails.
Keep an eye on 2nd through 4th here as we progress into lap 4. Yeah, it looks like Bobbert Yates was having some issue at the beginning of the session. You may have seen it as lights went out that Bobbert Yates had joined the session Oh, we have a quick little spin from none other than Bobbert Yates. There was a caution flag waved, but he was able to right his Haas and get back out on track as the Plums is also plummeting through the grid. What happened to the Ferrari? Is that Haas stopped on track?
I'm not sure. The Plums is down 2 positions total.
Well, what's the story with Bobbert? Is he racing right now? I could have sworn. Okay.
I saw him. Yeah, he's back on. Looked like he spun out. Had that little disconnection earlier. I think we had a driver last week.
It ran like half the race, right?
Yeah, and it would have been. It was very like. I don't think premonition is the right word, but like, it's what happened to Lance Stroll. Essentially, he just. The player in the game had a screen glitch, and so he just drove straight into a wall, like did not turn in a corner. And we were like, he had to have disconnected because there's no like way you could get in an accident and just go T-bone the wall in front of you. And then Lance did it in the same corner. It's a very tricky one where some people tend to bounce on the inside of the corner and then just go into the runoff and into the wall.
Yeah, I believe that was either Callie, Rob, or
that might have been Mackie.
Lame. I don't think Mackie disconnected though. I believe it was one of the DNF drivers because they cemented into the wall. Anyway, talk about him, and he fell up here. We have a safety car. We have a giant. We just have parts all over the place. It looks like that may be a McLaren's mess to clean up as Tinel is dropping pretty rapidly down into 16th. I was seeing a pretty decent fight there up in 8th with Callie, Rob, and a few others. But as we went to the camera, it was just absolute chaos. So we'll have to see who dips into the pits. There's definitely a car out there that needs to be repaired. But we are under a full-blown safety car here in lap 5 of 35. Race 2 of season 12 of Formula One Division 1. Only on Nick and Mitch tonight for this one.
We're getting some tire changes here early on. I believe some people were on hard tires and they might stick it out for a bit. Looks like Mac is on the mediums, but he's going to go into the pits as well.
Mac also with a penalty. I wonder if he will be able to serve that now.
Did anyone?
And Tinel has officially been DNF'd from this race. Sorry, disqualified from this race, exited from this race. Seems that damage was too severe for the McLaren. So it is race day in the lone Papaya. Still up in 4th now, dropped a few after DRS had opened up. He will have to carry the weight for the McLaren team. We're still under a safety car. Are we going to have an ad read on this one, or are we going to wait?
Can.
Well, it's up to you. I can do the shout out to the stewards now or later.
You never know when you're going to get an ad read. This could be a cleaner race than last week.
That's true.
Let's see if we can make it in, because we usually lose it here. Last week, we had AI generate an ad read for Lindlock Extreme.
Lindlock Extreme.
And this week, hey there, race enthusiasts. I don't know why I changed it to enthusiasts instead of fans. Anyways, need a boost to match the insane energy on the track? Then get your hands on Jitter Beans Ultra Mega Caffeinated Coffee.
Yo.
Yes.
Yo.
Jitter Beans. This ain't your regular morning brew. Jitter Beans has so much caffeine, it'll make your eyeballs track the cars faster. Forget blinking, you won't miss a single overtake. Feeling sluggish after a long race? Jitter Beans will keep you buzzing long into the post-race analysis. Disclaimer, Jitter Beans may induce temporary heart palpitations, the urge to shout at inanimate objects, and the ability to see sound. But hey, that's the price of peak race excitement.
Holy crap. You want liquid amphetamines? Jitter Beans Coffee Beans.
I think we have a new team to go up against Red Bull Racing.
Honestly, oh my gosh, Jitterbeans Racing.
It's got to be a J though. Jitterbeans.
Jitterbeans Jamboree.
Jivin?
Jitterbeans
That's a
Jivin.
good question for you.
Yeah, what would the team name be? It would have to be a partnered name. Jitterbeans something Formula One team.
Well, who's a competitor to Oracle?
Oracle is a company that does
Everything.
software.
They're a conglomerate.
Yeah. UNICEF? Is that? What am I thinking of?
I think that's wrong.
Yeah, it's not.
Isn't UNICEF a non-profit?
Unilever.
Yeah, UNICEF has every child deserves a chance. The non-profit.
Unilever is a British multinational consumer goods company. Yeah, they own like everything. They own every brand of everything. Dove, Knorr, Axe body spray, Ben & Jerry's ice cream, Hellmann's, Omo, Comfort, Dove. So let's go with, it's not a direct competitor to Oracle. Sorry. And here we go. We are racing once again, or at least waiting to get everything underway as Mackie playing a bit of chicken with Gott Palmer and the rest of the pack. We await for him to pedal down across the line to restart the Hungarian Grand Prix here. Here we go, taking the outside line, and we are off. Ripping around that final corner down the straight to get full Jitterbeans out of the Williams as he barrels down into turn one. We've got Palmer and GSR Caesar not far behind. Scarenzi getting past Travis Scott's as Travis Scott's dips down into seventh, 2 places down now. And Race Day up into third after the first few turns. Here we go. We have a slide from the Mercedes of GSR Caesar. He is unable to hold the line against Race Day, and he will drop down below his teammate into 6th place. 7th place as Travis Scott gets by with his Alpha. Race Day, I'm not sure if there was contact there. We will definitely hear about it if there was. But that did kind of look like a contact bump. We might have had some tires on there that did not look like an overspin from the Mercedes. What are you giggling at over there?
I'm giggling at executive producer's slogan for our race team called Jitter Done.
Jitter done!
My mom saying
God.
Jitterbeans Java. I saw Jitterbeans Jaguar, if we want to go with Jaguar for our engine.
I'm not sure what is going on right now with GSR Caesar. It might be my screen being a little glitchy on the screen share. But it seems like he was just all over the place. Nicky kind of had to dip into the grass to avoid an overtake, potential collision with the Mercedes. Not sure if he was just making himself big there or if he's having some serious issues with the car.
I think, who was he battling with? He went side by side and some
With Race Day.
wheel-to-wheel contact happened. Like, just like they both got close, and
Yeah.
I think maybe something happened to Caesar's car a bit that, is hurting him a bit more because he's still dropping down. He's just not able to hold his position. Like, he's not even trying to defend too much.
Yeah, he may dip into the pits here to assess. Yeah, he took the inside line against Race Day. Race Day seemed like he took a very narrow outside line. Might have, I can see Caesar claiming that he tried to box him out, but I do think there was enough room for both cars to make that corner from the quick blip that we saw. But an unfortunate snap of the steering for the Mercedes. But we'll see what he can do as he is back once again. Nicky is trying to get past the silver arrows yet again. DRS enabled once again as well.
I don't know. It looked like it might have been another one there slightly between him and Nicky. So Nicky's going to try and get in that slipstream, get around on the outside.
DRS. We'll see what he can do on the outside here. Turn one. Pushing it, but he is able to get by him. It looked like Caesar was trying to push him off track. Left him just enough room as Nicky slams the door shut there as we head down the hill. It's now Nicky up into 8th. Chuck Blazin, Fireballer in the Alpine, moving up past MMR Cynical in the Red Bull for a 14-15 swap. And it is still up top. It is still Mackey all day long, leading this race by 2 seconds now over Gott Palmer on race day, and more than a second behind Gott Palmer as well. So the entire front of the pack has spaced out. They are just going to maintain best they can until they can reclaim DRS. If anyone, it would be GSR Edwin who would be able to get by Scarenzi's Aston here towards the end. We'll see as we head into the finish straight.
It was a dogfight down in like 10th through 15th are all within half seconds of each other.
Here goes GSR Edwin past Scarenzi before turn 1. He is able to cleanly get by him. Will Scarenzi be able to take the inside line? He won't for now. We'll keep an eye on those two as we see more taking advantage of the DRS on the finish straight. Middle of the pack playing another game of musical chairs. How did my brain forget musical chairs?
I don't know at this point.
I guess that's just right on the cusp. That's the next thing to get cut from my memory.
What I can say is Scarenzi's getting the Oscar Piastri experience right now.
Did you see someone DM him a picture? I think it was fake.
Yeah.
Someone DM'd him a picture to seriously F off.
Oh, we have a big incident, I think.
Robert Yates looks like he has left this session after receiving a penalty, which may have been issued after his potential disconnection. But we did have Cynical in the Red Bull way off into the grass, taking a quick stroll through the park. Not sure what happened there. Whether it was Bobbert Yates with a disconnection and AI, stepping in and making the wrong move or what have you. We'll see if we can't get Bobbert to elaborate.
I think based on his chat that the game has not been doing him any favors. There's a lot of issues with him failing to join the session, saying the session doesn't exist according to the game. We'll find out.
He's not having a good one here tonight.
I believe in that incident we just had Cynical, and I thought I saw Caesar drop down. I don't know if he was involved though, because there was
fair.
The Red Bull was sideways, so you can't tell if Caesar was also mixed up and had, lost control of the car a little bit, or if he was just slowing down to avoid the collision and other people passed him. But he's still out on track. He didn't go into the pits. Fireballer and Cynical both went into the pits, so I imagine they had some issues. They're
Robert Yates,
27 seconds behind the pack.
Robert Yates missed the opening race of the season, so this is his season opener. Unfortunate turn there for the Haas. The game lagged out twice, stick drifted into the plums, which I apologize for. It apparently had ghost damage that the game didn't tell me about, and then it didn't change my wing when I went in to fix it. So just a series of unfortunate events, TM for the Haas there.
Yeah, there are some times in this where some damage in the car, you can go into the pits, can be totally fixed. To get underbody or some side pod damage, you can't fix that, and it's harder to race. So if you go into the pits, it'll tell you that, and then you usually retire. In his case, it sounds like everything on his display looked okay for the car, but when he went into the pits, his engineers said, we're retiring the car.
Unfortunate. That stinks.
We have another safety car.
Too much. There's too much going on. What were you saying about this being a cleaner race?
I don't know. We'll see if Cynical is able to continue racing if they fix the car. Looks like tires, and he's good. He's back out there.
Boom.
I also saw the animation from one of the YouTube channels that did some cartoon recaps of the races. Yes. And Oscar was basically just in his car, like a kid in the backseat of a minivan watching a cartoon on his display and eating popcorn, and Lewis was just like, "You okay back there, Oscar?" And he just wouldn't respond. He was just munching on popcorn. It's like, "You good back there, bud?"
That tracks.
Meanwhile, Max visited Carlos in the hospital mid-race and then went back out. And then Leclerc was wondering why he found himself in third or second. He's like, "I'm in third place. The tires are good. The race is going good. No one's in front of me. No one's behind me. There's like 5 laps to go. Who's doing the strategy?" And Carlos was like, "I've got you."
Headset on in the hospital bed. Do not worry. Honestly, that could be his seat next year. He just turns into like race strategist for the Ferrari race strategist. You know,
Well,
he pulls a Danny Rick. He takes a year off. And
Isn't Lewis's following him?
Huh?
Isn't Lewis's engineer following him?
Oh, is he?
Well,
that's not strategist.
There.
He could run team strategy for Ferrari. Yeah, I don't know if it was confirmed that he was going to Ferrari, but yeah, I think his contract is up at the same time. Want to take this safety car opportunity to thank our Division 1 Midwest eSports stewards. Thank you very much to Commissioner Pork Chops for everything you do, along with Lancey and Knuckles, our head D1 steward for season 12. Those folks handling all of the headache that comes after the race with steward submissions, grievances, and just kind of going against debunking game issued penalties, making everything above board here in a, I don't want to call the game not above board, but an interesting Formula One platform here, trying to keep everything above snuff. And they do a wonderful job of it. So thank you very much to all of our stewards in all of the divisions here at Midwest Esports Formula One. Someone can update us as the Division One broadcast team as well, if they're listening tonight. But that's just something off to the side. I don't know. I think we may not deserve the title of Division 1 broadcast team because we haven't done a shoey yet. Crash McQueen sitting there with the shoey. He has an emoji and everything.
He did the jean shorts and jean jackets.
We did, but we didn't drink any alcohol out of those jean jackets.
Instead of a shoe. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to pour a beer through it.
It's an Australian thing, though. Right?
Is Crash Australian? I mean, it's a Daniel Ricciardo thing.
Well, shoey's an Australian thing in general.
Is it? I genuinely thought it was just a Danny Rick thing.
Oh no, I think it's been around forever.
Is it now?
And people have done it out of a cowboy boot for a long time. Shoey's an Australian tradition.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
Shoey has historical significance. Modern adaptation of drinking champagne from a lady's slipper, which was a symbol of decadence in the 20th century. Some have warned that doing a shoey can lead to the wrong messages, especially with young people.
What messages?
Doctors say it could lead to infection. I'll leave it at that.
Probably like sepsis. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I can't drink out of any of my shoes. I know that. Where are we? Whoa, race day now dropped back down into 12th place, and he is the new owner of a penalty. What happened?
Second, yeah.
Was that just a weird pit thing during the safety car? Probably.
Maybe
There it is.
drop
Edwin in the
down.
Mercedes. Getting a little
Ooh,
hairy
and then
with
a
it.
bump
We have
between a Red Bull and the Alpha, and now we're going to get pinched with a Mercedes in the mix.
we're 3 wide with a Mercedes now.
It's like 8 wide down there.
Oh, this is a jumble right now. Everyone's going wide, just trying to preserve their car through this race. We had a Haas bumping, or sorry, we had an AlphaTauri bumping into a Red Bull. We had a Haas bumping into a Mercedes. We have everyone bumping into the Haas now as well. Here we go. This is the chippy race that we were talking about in Hungary. These tight, narrow corners can really mess up your line.
See, where's the back of this pack? I want to see. It doesn't end. Oh, there it is.
Absolute
Look at the line of cars.
chaos that is this mid-pack.
Ooh, we just had one.
Sui.
He dropped
dropping.
down a little bit.
Yeah. GSR Edwin still fighting up there. It's incredible that that Mercedes went that far into the grass and was still able to retain a competitive spot. That would have been a death sentence for most drivers.
Oh, Shreya Coleslaw goes a little wide. That finish line, it looked like we were almost about to have a NASCAR battle with cars weaving in and out and just going 3 wide down the straight. Bumps happening all over the place. Now we're going to have
Paint,
DRS.
man. Ugh, here we go.
Shreya could get passed by a couple cars.
Well, we are officially in the back half of the Hungarian Grand Prix. And it's got Palmer now up into the lead after all that chaos. We still have chaos in the middle of the pack. It's Shreya Coleslaw dropping down into 15th as he had collision, whether it was a breakup or a spin. Not quite sure because our camera wasn't on it, but yeah, just more and more and more here from the middle of the pack. So much so that we missed a lead change in the race. Mackie bowing now a second, almost close to a second and a half to got Palmer in the Alpine. Like, where do you look? We need multicam view.
Yeah, I need like the controlled helicopter fly where
Yeah.
I can see like 8 turns in a row at this point.
Exactly.
Just because it's like big changes at a time too. Several drivers going back and forth at once.
And got Palmer getting closer to those qualifying times with 1:17.8.
I think what I said, the fastest qualifying lap was a 1:13 something. The fastest in race lap
Today
on
was
this track was
yeah.
1:15 something.
Phew. Still lightning right there. Nikki now dropping down 2 spaces as Race Day and GSR Edwin get by. The M's getting by the W for Wumbo. Hi, Wumbo. Nikki Wumbo. Screen Freeze Merchant Wumbo. It's Formula One. All right, sorry. Race Day getting by the Ferrari of Callie Robb, his former teammate. Race Day now up into 4th, if you recall, in lap 17, just 2 laps ago at the restart of the race. Race Day was sitting down in 12th place, and after all of the chaos, he has made it back. Maybe fighting for a podium spot sooner than we thought. He does have a 3-second penalty, though, so I'm sure he'll be hoping for another pit stop. Potentially, another safety car here to pay that debt before the end of the race. Now we watch GSR Edwin get by Callie Robb at the very beginning of DRS. GSR Edwin has had a very consistent day here. He has been in total control of the Mercedes. And Ricky saying in the comments as well, Palmer is running very well. He absolutely is. Palmer, one of those drivers who, when he's on it, he is always on it. He's just so incredibly consistent. One of the most consistent point getters on the grid right there.
Yeah, was he the one that won several in a row last season, or in a
Yeah,
combination of
Palmer.
last 2 seasons going into last season?
Yes. Yeah, and Gott Palmer also won possibly my favorite finish line moment in Brazil. I believe it was last year. It was early last year where he came around and had a double overtake in the final corner of Brazil to win that race over race day and someone else, I believe. Caesar picking up a 3-second penalty for track limits there. But yeah, Palmer, an absolute treat to watch, especially whenever he is in the fight for the lead. And I mean, you can just see it absolutely running away with it right now. Once he has that open track, he's gone. Nicky dropping even further back now into 8th place as Houdini gets by. We have been very grateful and you know, lucky to have 2 clear sky races to start the season. We haven't had any rain or, you know, cloud incidents just yet in the season.
I think near the end of last season, we had several bouts of rain that ended up with either, you know, bad things happening on track or just disconnects between qualifying and starting the race. There were several issues getting the race started. So nice to see some dry ones to start.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really gives you a great snapshot of what to expect from the drivers. You know, you want to let them get comfortable in their skin, get comfortable in their cars, comfortable with the new pack and the new, you know, team pairings. We watch as Mac tries to, it's Houdini trying to get by Cali Rob. He does so under DRS. He will hold it through turn 1 here into lap 22 up into 6th place. But you want to definitely give these drivers the runway they deserve to start the season. You don't want to start under weather because it's like, all right, cool. We can't get a good bead on who's who, you know. Now we at least know who some of the big players are. And you throw it into a rain race, a wet race, and you see what those people are made of too. Is it the same folks, or is it someone else like Lando Norris who, you know, comes out of the fray to really show what he's worth? Cali Rob looked like he was a little squirrely there in the start of Sector 2, but he has gotten it back under control, trying to keep that interval to Houdini small. We may see another battle here as they finish up Sector 3 and head back into the double DRS zone. Maybe another Ferrari Alpha battle.
We've got 2 of them going on in the podium right now, or in the standings. We have Travis Scott's in the plums. Cali Rob is going to get DRS. So some of the drivers behind him, they've got a little group of 3. It's not going to be enough for him to close it off here. Looks like Cynical's dipping into the pits and a lockup possibly for Cali Rob.
Yeah, that was a big lockup from Cali Rob as he headed into turn 1 there. We'll have to see. Sharia Coleslaw and Cynical both taking a quick pit stop with 12 laps to go on the race. Wonder if that was just a pure tire swap for those 2. Let's see how everyone is faring. I mean, Cali Rob and Nicky, 17 laps on those hard tires. And Gunner, 17 laps on a pair of mediums as well. And same with Mackie. Oh my gosh, these guys are in it for the Ironman haul. 17 laps. Okay, so they were all a part of the early pit stop. There's no way they finished this with 20 plus on these tires, right? There we go. Mackey's into the pit.
Yeah, at least the medium tire, medium for sure. I think the hards will have to pit as well. just to stay competitive, they're probably going to pop soft tires on. But we'll see where they come out in terms to Mackie, who was close to the top. He's going to throw soft tires on. But he is going to come out quite a few positions behind Callie, Rob, and Nikki on those hard tires. Both of them
Pretty
have
much everyone above him
and
has
switched.
But to see those drivers on 10 or more, you have 10 laps to go. I don't know. That's a big gamble if we see all of that pack staying out. You think?
Depends on the track and the setup, I would say. They were getting like 8 to 10 on soft. Saw people get 18 on mediums, so you can maybe get 28 on hard.
Okay.
It's a stretch, but at the same time, let's look at the leader. Callie and Nikki are at about 20 seconds. They would come out probably in 15th, probably like a 15 to 20 second pit stop. So they would come out in front of Cynical. They're going to drop 9 positions if they stop at this point. Now Chuck Blazin, three of them would also have to stop. They're going to lose like 6 positions if they stop, so it's one of those, can you just stay out? They got 3 seconds on 10th, and then they've got 7 or 8 seconds on 11th, so I guess you just baby those tires. Maybe a safety car comes out too, you hope for that.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to that would be a godsend for all of these guys, and then we would really see an electric finale. But
I would say
they can definitely do it. Just a matter of if do you want to and can you.
I would say if I'm not the best at knowing how long these tires will last before they hit 0 or hit rock bottom. If you can finish the race on those hard tires, I would try it. That's just me. I've done it once or twice before, and it's worked. Just knowing the gap I have to the cars behind me.
You're also phenomenal at maintaining your tire deck.
Yeah, so you do have to be careful.
I would put you in an outlier position as well.
Because I did it in one race where I didn't
Mackie
stop, and I knew like I was in second. And it was like halfway through the race, so it was time to decide. And I was like, if I stay out, I know third's going to pass me. He's close. But like 4th, 5th, 6th, they were all like 15 seconds behind, 15 laps. And the last like 10 laps, I was losing a second or just under a second. But that was enough. And then the last lap, I lost like 6 seconds on my time because my tires were dead. So it's tricky.
Tricky for some, but others on fresh tires, much like Mackie Marquis, are back up into the fray in 6th place, 5th place, sorry, as we head through the chicanes there, getting by Houdini. A little bit of tire contact there between the two reds. And we have a spin. It's Nikki. It's Callie Robb. It may have been Houdini involved in that as well, but we did have a little bit of a squabble there. Tire contact, and we had at least 2 cars spun out on track. Nikki looks like he's trying to regain control of the Williams. That is so unfortunate.
Remember all that stuff we were talking about whether you risk the tires or not? So
back up in a second.
I didn't see who the main one was. It did happen when Mackie Marquis tried to squeeze by, and they got side by side. Didn't see if one was more in the wrong than the other. But that can be a case too where Mackie, you said, was on fresh soft tires and he was going up against someone on like 20 lap hard tires. Mackie might be racing him in the corner like the other driver has enough grip. So Mackie's going on the outside, thinking the guy on the inside has a lot of grip, but those tires don't. And so he was maybe, didn't give as much room as the other driver needed. Now, whether he needed to give that much room, I don't know. But unfortunate. It's the several drivers are tied up in that.
Right. yeah, definitely suboptimal, but you know, it's not the other driver's job to account for your tire deg. You know, they give your car the space that your car needs to physically pass. And if you can't keep it within that space, I would think, you know, unless there are rules that state or there's some kind of gentleman's agreement that, you know, you just give that car some space, but there's no way to know. They're not checking the tire
as long as he had
wear on the
enough
other
space.
drivers. Right. So yeah, we'll have to see if that is reported of him closing off the gap or not. But yeah, definitely not a. It did not seem like an aggressive overtake. It's kind of just a situation there. Drivers back on track after that brief pit stop to pick up the pieces. Nicky and Cynical now back in the mix in 10th and 11th.
Alfa Romeo moving up again, though. They're in 6th and 8th. And I believe they finished Houdini and Travis Scott. They were 6th and 7th last week. They were responsible for getting Alfa Romeo in that tie for second because they had both drivers finish relatively well in the race. And it looks like they're on track to do that again. That might be very good for them, actually, because they are tied with McLaren, but one McLaren is now out of the race. And just 8 points behind Aston Martin, but Sui currently in 18th. So maybe too early to say, but Alfa Romeo maybe jumping up. Alpine, though, is just 2 points behind them, and they have a driver in 1st and 11th. It's going to be very close after 2 weeks. I'm excited.
Every time. It really is. I love the start of the season.
Enough incidents in these first 2 races.
It's literally anyone's game.
Yeah. And enough incidents that
it
could
feels
be
like
crazy.
D4.
Yeah. You're still going to have your Screnzi and race day close to the top, but Palmer is going to make a push.
Callie Robb stealing fastest lap from Marquis. Mackey.
Screnzi's getting closer to Edwin as well. Other tires compare. About the same.
Yep. Yeah, that whole top 4 there.
Screnzi now within a half second going into the DRS zone. He's looking to take second place. Race day on his tail, but does have that 3-second penalty. Travis Scott's just picked up a 3-second penalty for Alfa Romeo too. That would drop him 3 positions right now.
Wow. I mean, that's just a testament to how close this race is. But yeah, I mean, as the tires are wearing, you are going to see more of the track limits penalties coming by, especially with how tight these groupings are and how hard these drivers are pushing this late in the race. 5 laps remain, and God Palmer has almost 10 seconds on the rest of the pack. I mean, just absolutely Max Verstappen on an island of his own right now. It is his race to lose with 5 laps to go. It doesn't matter if those tires are brand new or 20 laps old. He could make this happen in style. GSR Edwin Screnzi and Race Day are the drivers to keep an eye on, as they are all very, very close. Screnzi now under half a second to GSR Edwin. See what happens as they round the penultimate corner of the circuit, heading now on to the DRS straight. Will Screnzi have enough in the tank to get past GSR for second place? He has a lot of ground to catch up here to get him before the first turn. He will have another opportunity after turn 1, late into braking, not quite on the apex, doesn't get everything he needs to make it happen. Then and there, we have 4 laps to go to see how all of that plays out. But he is also very, very good at overtaking in Sector 1 and 2 with all of these back and forths. These chicanes definitely play to his strength. Race days as well. You're not going to see those intervals waver too much.
From what I saw too, seemed like race day was gaining more on Screnzy than Screnzy was on Edwin.
Is that a setup thing?
I was about to say that. I think it
race
is.
day has downforce on the straight, and Scarenzi is more set up for cornering. That would make sense.
And if we are going for the comparison, Screnzy, like Alonso, loves his corners and very fast in them. But that Aston sometimes is a dog in the streets.
You glitched. Your audio glitched, so I did not hear Aston. So you said that Aston is a dog in the streets. I was like, whoa! You're usually the one that keeps it under wraps on this stream. Race day losing some pace to Scarenzi there.
Yeah, we got Mackie Marquis catching up to that pack now.
Sector 2, yeah.
Both with 3-second penalties, though, which probably keep him off the podium at this point, even if they get past Scarenzi.
Hey, at this point, fight for errors.
They'll be fighting each other for 4th and 5th at that point, because 6 is 18 seconds behind.
Yeah, these gaps are just phenomenal. Like, they're awesome right now. That is a commanding front pack. You can't say anything about it.
And this one, I think, might just be a matter of time because Mackie Marquis is on soft and race days on mediums. With those 3 laps to go, Mackie got that, like, one of the most recent pit stops out of everyone.
He's toying with him at this point. Here we go, under DRS. Mackie under 2/10 and closing rapidly on race day. Gets by the McLaren with just 2 laps to go. But race day takes the inside corner and blocks Mackie out. Incredible defense. Race day staying on the line, keeping the Williams at bay. Will he be able to get by him on the outside here on the fresh softs? He will have enough to get past race day that time. We are quickly approaching sector 2. There are fireworks on the track as these 2 drivers duking it out for 4th and 5th.
That was some beautiful defense by race day in going into turn 1, though. Knowing that Mackie was going to get past him, so giving him the outside, and then race day taking the inside and being bold enough to just get in front of Mackie before he could start his turn in to cut him off from getting the better speed on the exit from being on the outside. So just a good move. Fortunately, you have those 2 DRS zones, so Mackie was able to get enough speed back to eventually complete the overtake. And now is almost a second away from race day, but they are going through the detection. I think he will get DRS. We'll see if it's fast enough for him to catch up, but Mackie is catching up to Scarenzi at this point.
You know, that was an overtake. That was a battle into turn 1. Lock up there by Scarenzi. Perfect opportunity for Mackie. Potentially, he is right on the tail. Out of DRS they go, and Mackie is held at bay by the Aston Martin. But I predict we're going to see an overtake here before we see DRS once again. You know, I've been waiting to see an overtake or at least a battle into turn 1 like the one we just saw with race day and Mackie all race, and really haven't. It's been very, you know, get past in turn 1 and I'm just going to hold it. But the fact that he was able to hold that line, that was phenomenal. I've been waiting 33 laps to see that kind of battle.
We have a caution flag thrown up too. It looks like Sui maybe in the Aston Martin.
He is still driving, so we won't get a safety car just yet. We are officially on the final lap as Scott Palmer crosses the line. 9.5 seconds before GSR Edwin in second. Here we go. Mackie on the DRS straight gets by Scarenzi up into 3rd place. Keep in mind that 3-second penalty. We have another lockup from GSR Edwin into turn 1 as he sees the blue Williams behind him, now under half a second behind the Mercedes.
I do think that Scarenzi is running slightly more downforce because the Williams had no problem getting past, and they both did have DRS. Even though the Williams would have a bit of slipstream, he was still hooking pretty fast down that straight once he pulled up alongside.
Well, you can't see it as clear as that in every single race. But that's a wonderful, wonderful example of how much your particular, car setup can affect the outcome of a race. GSR Edwin there getting a 3-second penalty to boot. So now second and third place provisional have those penalties. And across the line goes Gott Palmer for his first win of season 12 of Midwest Formula One Division 1 racing. Racked up quite a few in season 11. And here he is once again. It's Scarenzi after the penalties take effect. Scarenzi taking second place, followed by GSR Edwin's Mercedes in third. Mackey started this race in in second place, and he will finish in fourth. And our first place pole sitter race day will close out in fifth. Phenomenal showing from those top five and the rest of our drivers, but my gosh, have we set the pack, potentially set the pack apart here in just race 2 of the season. We saw a really slick slide there from Gunnar in the AlphaTauri, looking like it's a World Rally car there around one of the final corners of Sector 3.
Ooh. Little bump up the rear between Caesar and Sharia Coleslaw going across the finish line. Nikki DNFing.
Little bump draft.
Interesting. Little bump draft.
Very interesting. We're seeing some decent comments in paddock chat here. A lot of GGs. Race day saying one of the best cars in qualifying just got unpredictable on me during the race. So interesting that we were talking about a setup that looked like it was working for him. Maybe it wasn't so much working to his favor, but that kind of scares me. Like, what will happen if he has the car working in his favor during a race?
I don't know. It's a tricky one to battle. This is a difficult course for that too, because your passing pretty much only happens in those 2 DRS zones. So obviously you want to set up the car for high speed, low downforce. But like we said, Sector 2, you can do it full speed if you have enough downforce.
Well, he won 5 races in season 11, and this is his first in season 12. We're going to see what the rest of the season looks like for Gott Palmer in the Alpine. It is now him and Scarenzi sat atop the pack as we head into week 3. There is no regular F1 race this week on the calendar, so we will look towards next weekend, taking us to Australia, both for Midwest and the actual broadcast of F1. Really, really looking forward to the Australian Grand Prix. That's going to take place next Thursday on the 21st of March. I know that's one of my favorite tracks. It's one of everyone's favorite F1 tracks. So really excited to see what these guys are going to bring to that course. Seems like the first time that we're going to have these cars just full out for most of the time. It's going to be straight speed, straight aggression the entire time. None of this narrow business like we had in Hungary.
I don't know if it's been a while since we've seen Australia in this league too.
Oh, has it? I haven't.
At least for us doing.
Yeah, it wasn't in season 11. It wasn't in season 10. Wow. It was way back in season 9. And that was just a year ago, March 11th. So before we entered the league, it was race number 2
before we covered the race?
Yep. We entered late in season 10. Yeah, we entered late in season 10. So.
Yeah, it looks like Austria was our first race.
Wow.
And then Barcelona.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I'm excited
so
we haven't seen this track yet.
our first call in Australia. I know this is one of my favorites, just to take a time trial spin in the game, and I'm going to have to do that this week, maybe this weekend, just to get reacquainted with the track down under. When are you in Montreal? That's
Not next week, the week after.
So Netherlands. Okay,
Yes.
so we will not be here for the Netherlands race at the end of March. So Australia, and then we will take a brief hiatus on the channel. But thank you, everyone, for joining us for another installment of Midwest Esports Formula One Division One on Nick and Mitch. Thank you very much to Pork Chops, the commissioner, and the rest of the league for allowing us the privilege of covering these races every week. And thank you very much as well to our Nick and Mitch YouTube subscribers and YouTube members. Special thanks to executive producers. She's going first today. Mama Bell, Bone Crusher 2D, and Coach 34. Those are our executive producers. Co-producers are Killa Vapor, Captain Snowbeard, and Kirsten. And of course, we can't forget our fans and Fans Plus.
Yeah, if you want to become a member too, you can hit join down below and you'll get some cool perks like early access to some of our videos, emojis, badges, other stuff. We use that for our continuing memberships, for music and for graphics, and for maybe our AI race rule assistance, so that we don't butcher our way through the league rules or the historic records. We like to test some of that stuff out. So, bring new things to the channel. But if not, you can subscribe as well, and you'll also still get a message popping up on the screen.
Look at that, all nice and fancy. Like, there's even some green on there. I am not a lick of Irish. I have no Irish blood in me, but I am wearing some green. I know you got some Scottish heritage in your lineage, but yeah, we're wearing some green. Happy St. Patrick's Day to anyone in the States celebrating, anyone overseas celebrating. Be safe, have a blast this weekend, and we will see you next week ahead of the real Australian Grand Prix for the Midwest Esports Grand Prix. Same place, same time. We'll see you there. I'm Nick.
And I'm Mitch.
And have a wonderful St. Patrick's Day. See y'all.